stepper, step inside, take a seat, feel the magic in the air. Cards on the table, let the spirits take you there. Aeson's got the insight, Joe's teching up the show. Sip that truth, honey, let the mystic wisdom flow. Oh, ooh, it's the Sidekick Coffee Shop, where the vibes are high and the tea gets hot. Mystic minds with a little sass, talking life, the stars and shadows past. From tarot spreads to future sights, we're spilling secrets left and right. So grab your cup, let's take a ride on this cosmic caffeinated guide. Yun, ooh, it's the Sidekick Coffee Shop.
Good evening and welcome to Psychic Coffee Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course I'm sitting down with Techie with Moses. Techie Joe, how are you, darling?
I'm doing okay. How about you? How are you this evening?
I'm doing alright. I'm kind of kicking through it, doing a little beast mode action. For those that don't know, sometimes I kick into beast mode, which means I do a lot of extra work. You're going to find me on networks on weird hours. We're recalibrating. All that fun. So let's get out the social media. So what's on the first line of the docket tonight?
All right. So from DW, UNESCO, or New World Heritage Sites to be announced. A fairy tale-like castle, a sunken port city in the Caribbean, and mysterious cave paintings. Which of these places will be named as the latest entries on the UNESCO World Heritage Site list? In just a few days, the palaces of King Ludwig II of Bavaria could be added to the UNESCO World Heritage Site list, alongside 31 other sites around the world. Neuschwanstein Castle, Lindendorf Palace, the King's House on Seychellen, and the Herrenchiemsee Palace Complex have been nominated for inclusion. I probably butchered all of those. Decisions will be made at the 47th session of the World Heritage Committee in Paris, which ends on July 16th. For 10 years now, King Ludwig II's Bavarian palaces have been at the top of Germany's wish list for new additions. Perched high above the edge of the Alps, Neuschwanstein Castle is one of Germany's most famous buildings. With its many towers, it looks like something out of a fairy tale. This dream in stone draws more than 1 million visitors from across the globe every year. Commissioned by King Ludwig II of Bavaria, 1845 to 1886, construction on Neuschwanstein Castle began in 1869. Originally intended as a private residence for the king, it was never completed. This picturesque palace, owned by the federal state of Bavaria, is also famous for its pompous interior design. So
that one I would like to see put on the World Heritage Foundation, probably for not the reason you think. It doesn't have a lot of historical meaning, but it's just a brilliant ability of architecture.
it is very pretty. The
It is.
pictures with this article are definitely worth going to check out the article.
Yeah. The underwater lake, which is gorgeous. There was a lot of work put into this castle, and it is quite amazing.
So, yeah, currently there are 1,223 World Heritage Sites, of which 952 are cultural heritage and 231 are natural heritage. The World Heritage Committee's perspective extends far beyond Germany. This year, 32 cultural landmarks from countries across the globe have been nominated, including the ancient Kudal region in Tajikistan, the Caribbean underwater city of Port Royal in Jamaica, the Modernist Center of Gdynia in Poland, and the memorial sites for the victims of the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. So yeah, there's really beautiful places. Like yeah, including like in Russia, rock paintings from the Shulgantash cave, which has also been nominated. Oh wow. Yeah, so there's a lot that goes into this, and
Mhm. Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see what goes, where it goes. Yeah, what gets the nomination. I think the cave paintings will be the hardest ones to do because it'll be, if it becomes a world heritage, then it has to be secured and preserved, and Russia's really hard for that.
true. Well, that's kind of India too.
Yeah,
They're like that's been a big problem for India to let other people in
right.
and actually do the things that need to be done to properly document, properly preserve, properly maintain. Like India, especially, has been really standoffish on the, understandably, may we point out, understandably.
Yeah,
Like and like Egypt is notoriously horrible.
yeah. See, there's a lot
Again,
of historical sites. Well, Egypt in itself, there's a lot of sites that are still under excavation. Um, like we haven't gotten any look at the underviewing of the tunnels under the pyramids. We haven't got any research from them. They're not allowing any foreigners underneath those pyramids. And I think it's because it'll change a lot of what we thought about the pyramids to begin with, therefore destroying their or increasing their tourism.
well, and it is understandable. The reason I say it is understandable is they have had a lot of outside excavation
Hmm.
and supposed archaeological professional um, um, work done.
Right.
Unfortunately, a lot of that became more exploitative than preservative.
Right.
So again, it's really understandable why some countries are so standoffish. Um,
It is, but on the other side of it, it's so hard when they don't actually want to allow people to come in there, preserve it, maintain it, fund it. Dragon's Nest under the pyramids? No, honey. I think there's an electrical power plant underneath the pyramids.
oh, there.
All right. So what's next?
Well, from today we have what July's full buck moon in Capricorn means for your zodiac sign. So yeah, July's full moon is nearly here. This full moon rises in the Earth sign of Capricorn, the ambitious and grounded sea goat of the zodiac. Nicknamed the buck moon because it coincides with the time of year that deer grow antlers in North America, this lunation represents a moment of change and transcendence. Like the buck, we are growing. Here's what to know about the astrology of the full moon, including when to see it. So July's lunation reaches peak fullness on Thursday, July 10th at 4:21 p.m. Eastern Time, and will appear full for 3 days. So you can see it on Friday, June 11th, and Saturday, June 12th. So the full moon within astrology is a moment to release burdens. Each individual full moon is impacted by cosmic happenings. In the case of July's full moon, Mars and the nodes of destiny's aspects offer us a chance to have a fresh start. The opportunity to advance our situations is high as long as we embrace the lunar energy and allow ourselves to grow. The motivation is there, but it is up to us to take it. Hopefully, the cosmos will urge us to take the biggest risk of all, which is to gamble on ourselves. So then we get into how it affects each sign. For Aries, your professional life is going seemingly well. People are taking notice of your strenuous efforts and rewarding you with incredible praise for your accomplishments. The only issue is that your colleagues may be jealous of your successes. Don't let their negativity bring you down. Enjoy the fruits of your labor. For Taurus, it's been a minute since you've given yourself the grace to focus on your desires. Allowing yourself to think about your future aspirations will lead you to greatness and offer you structure. As long as you put your needs and dreams above anything or anyone else, they'll feel feasible to attain. Gemini, where do you end and your partner begin? Although it may be hard, setting boundaries is essential for you to do right now. Creating limits will also benefit you because you will feel more independent. If you do not, then you will become codependent over the next few weeks. Cancer, the desire to commit is strong, but you may only want to be with your significant other for all the wrong reasons. Don't enter a relationship because you're lonely or for status. Only commit to someone for pure reasons if you genuinely want to be with them. Then it'll last. Leo, you may be shy towards others as you do not want to make waves in relationships. The caveat is that annoyances will come to light, which will cause frustrations to arise that you don't want to deal with. Be honest with your feelings in an effort to skip the drama for once. Virgo, it's been long since you've indulged. Use this time to regain your confidence, even if that means buying things you desire to boost your energy. Should you do it? Yes, you deserve to pamper yourself once in a while. Libra, embrace your happy homemaking skills and change up the decor in your dwelling. If you can't repaint your space, then at least change up the flow of your abode by adding fun decorative pillows and adornments throughout your home. A little extra flair will go a long way now. Scorpio, you're evolving, but your friends and lovers aren't. Their reluctance to transform is creating tension in your relationships. The best way to handle this energy is focus on elevating and reforming yourself. Then you won't worry about their lack of growth. Sagittarius, you're drawn to intense relationships. Even though the drama is all-consuming, you'll relish in the theatrics. All this goes against your freedom-loving sentiments. The sudden need for closeness with others may confuse you initially, but you'll relish the passion and desire for intimacy. Capricorn, your creativity is heightened now, allowing your artistry to shine. Blend your intuition and sentimental nature into your expressive, artistic style to showcase your innate talent. You have the magic touch now. Use it to your advantage. With your romantic heart and creative mind, there's nothing you can't achieve. Aquarius, you're a giver by nature. Your generous heart now allows others to freely take from you without any questions. The only caveat to your 24/7 emotional availability is that being too available can lead to people taking your kindness for granted. Make sure they appreciate you. And last but not least, Pisces, you've been wanting to expand your friendship group and meet new peeps. However, you're not ready for the responsibility and work that comes with opening your heart to acquaintances. What you'll come to learn is that friendship takes effort and time. Take baby steps towards making new friends.
Yes, and make them fill out applications. So what do you think of this full moon, dear?
This is always a bit of a weird one. Like every year. This does seem to be when people do start wanting to make like sudden change.
Right.
And it's a very emboldening kind of moon, like if you let it be, to do the thing.
Right.
And that's kind of what each of those were like. It's mostly tends to be a time in which you already know what you want to do. This is kind of the permissive moon that says, yeah, go do that.
Go do that.
So.
Yeah. It'll be an interesting one. I'll find my Aries horoscope quite on point. Your Cancer one, you've already found your significant other, so I don't know what you're going to do with that one.
Beat him into shape.
Yeah, you try that. Try that real hard, honey.
All right, so ABC News brings us TSA to end shoes off policy for airport security screening. The agency first began requiring passengers to take their shoes off in 2006. Nearly 20 years after airline passengers were first required to remove their shoes for security, the policy is being phased out. The Transportation Security Administration, TSA, is planning to allow passengers to keep their shoes on when they go through the general security line at many major airports across the country. Two sources told ABC News. An unexpected memo went out to TSA officers across the country last week, stating the new policy will allow all passengers to keep their shoes on in all screening lanes at many airports across the country starting Sunday. The goal is to roll the new policy out to all U.S. airports shortly, according to the memo. Previously, only passengers in the TSA pre-check line were able to keep their shoes on in most cases. The transportation agency has spent years looking for an innovative way to allow passengers to move faster through the security checkpoints. Passengers who trigger the alarm at the scanners or magnetometers, however, will be required to take their shoes off for additional screening, according to the memo. This is a major shift since TSA began requiring passengers to take their shoes off in 2006. The policy came 5 years after Richard Reed tried to blow up an American Airlines flight from Paris to Miami with explosives packed in his shoes. The explosives failed to detonate, and Reed was held down by fellow passengers and the flight crew. So ABC News has reached out to TSA for a comment. And apparently by the time they went to press, they had not received one.
No. What I find interesting or more aggravating with this is like about dang time. I mean, okay, first of all, TSA screens are a pain in everybody's butt. Most of them fail when tested.
Yeah,
And
the
if they can,
testing on TSA policies, like as in when we're intentionally trying to trigger them with a government run test, it fails. The screening fails.
yeah,
It is it is not catching anything.
it
And
isn't.
there's been multiple news stories to
Hmm.
go into that.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think that this will definitely speed the process up, at least a fair amount.
Hmm.
We're hope the scanners don't just become suddenly fault sensitive, and so then everyone still has to take their shoes off and get a more invasive search.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is what gets me, is I hate traveling with TSA. Like, I am going to get searched. We know this. This is like already pre-planned. Like, I wear flip-flops because it's like, let's just handle this. And this has been a recurrent problem because their scanners are so precise. And it's like, yeah, I got body jewelry. Get over it. No, I do not have shrapnel attached to my nipples. Other areas appear too dark. Um, and it's like, dude, really? You can give a breast examination by just walking through here, and you have problems in other areas.
I've it's a struggle for me
Hmm.
with how much we have given up
Hmm.
in the name of better security.
Right.
The forget the shoes even for a moment. We're because like the yeah that one still fails. But the whole program, by and large, is unsuccessful
Hmm.
detecting exactly what they're supposed to detect.
Hmm.
Yet a lot of it has become very invasive, very personal, very
Hmm.
borderline inappropriate.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not saying it is not a tragedy to have something intentionally done to an aircraft,
Right.
but I'm also saying that we made it a good long run without there being
Hmm.
a lot of horrible things attempted.
Right.
It kind of becomes a question of um,
Hmm.
is any of this actually going to ever meaningfully
Hmm.
do what we want it to do? Or are we just as safe
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
as we were before, only now
Right.
just going through all these extra steps? That would be my biggest question in all of it is are we really even looking at it to see and even beg the question, are we perhaps less safe in the sense that we go through all this security theater
Mm-hmm.
and so we feel safer, and so it kind of prevents us from like paying attention, being more
Mm-hmm.
aware, like
Right.
are we kind of trading things off,
Right.
and and so we feel better about flying,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not even necessarily better.
Right.
Like,
I don't think that it is. I think that we did not take a full look at other countries' protocols. We did not implement them. We went like the complete opposite.
mhm, we just kind of passed a whole plan,
Right.
dumped it out there, and went, see, safe.
Right.
And like even in the beginning, it was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know, I don't think it's been a success. I don't think it's gonna be a success until we actually embrace the reality
Mm-hmm.
that, maybe not being entirely, safe in this manner, is a form of safety in and of itself. It makes
Right.
you more aware. It makes you more conscious.
More focused.
It, you start paying attention to more things.
Right.
My thoughts long been, I don't really see where it's doing that much.
Right.
And I'm not saying they don't catch that, like it's they don't catch anything. They don't, there are things they do catch.
Right.
Argumentatively, some of those things are detectable in other means.
Right.
Because if you're sitting here looking, not at the safety, but you're looking at like drugs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, one, to be frank, I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry, I don't. I
Right.
do not care.
Right.
You know, but yeah, sniff my luggage. It doesn't bother me. It does not impact me.
Right.
You know, sniff me, like stand there with the dog and sniff me as I go past. It doesn't impact me.
Right.
I'm not going through an airport with drugs.
Yeah.
But help me understand how that warrants, because that's where some of this stuff it ends up at is we get off the tangent of actual security and,
Mm-hmm.
terroristic threats and that whole conversation, and we suddenly end up over in the drug conversation.
Right.
Is like we're sitting here supposedly looking for people who are going to blow up aircraft.
Mm-hmm.
And every time we try to talk about, like, well, okay, what's the efficacy of this program? What is the TSA efficacy? We end up on a drug conversation.
Right. And what's even worse is they do not apply it the same. Like you fly out of Jaeger is much simpler than flying out of LAX.
Yeah, like every airport, and I mean, it's not just one little podunk here, and whatever. Every airport does this differently.
Yeah.
It is the most confusing part about flying is not knowing
Mm-hmm.
where you're going to have, if you're going to have a hang up, and where you're going to have it.
Right.
I again kind of get there's something to be said for predictability there, and the
Right.
fact that without it, it does make it harder to plan.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I I, I
Yeah.
really struggle with the idea that we're actually
Mm-hmm.
safer,
Right.
and that this is beneficially on its own
Mm-hmm.
doing what they want it to do, and that it may not be introducing other problems.
Well, not only other problems, but if you can easily get one thing right,
Mhm.
and then you start dawning on extra things for extra things and having them doing extra things, and then you start getting nothing right. And it's like, what? Why are we getting nothing right here?
Well, like, I know for me, like, you know, in the earlier days of like 20 years ago, you know, if someone had unattended baggage, if you randomly see an unattended bag, we were seriously concerned.
Right.
I know in my traveling experience, I got to the point of you made it through the damn same TSA pre-check or whatever that I did,
Right.
the TSA check that I did. I assume
Mm-hmm.
it's really the end of the world. Like, what's the likelihood you got something through?
Right.
And that's a really false narrative for me to have.
Well, it's
Because
a
I
very
can
false.
sit here in detail that, like,
Mm-hmm.
this is the problem, is that
Mm-hmm.
it's unsuccessful. Like, its
Right.
own testing of its own capacity is
Right.
unsuccessful. But even as a passenger, I have, you know, fatigue with the idea
Exactly.
of and so it's easier to tell myself the narrative. You
Mhm.
had to go through TSA 2.
Mm-hmm.
What could you possibly have in there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the likelihood this is the bag?
Right.
Like, wait a few minutes, see if someone shows up.
Yeah.
You know, ran through the airport after a kid and left their bag behind.
Mm-hmm.
Got distracted, whatever.
Right. And I think that they use this a lot of times to even like mark up stuff.
Pardon?
They use it a lot of times to mark things up, to mark finances up, to mark other things up more
Oh, well,
expensively.
the
Like,
additional funding,
yeah.
the additional
Yeah.
employees, the additional budget, the
Mm-hmm.
additional, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to some degree, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are private equity firms that are making a shit ton
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
selling the equipment, doing the training, refreshing the training,
Mm-hmm.
supplying everything for it.
And-
I'm sure.
Yep.
I'm sure there are private companies that are making buttloads off of this.
Exactly. And it's like, okay, at least it took them 20 years to get over the fear of shoes. Now that we've all bought flying shoes, flip flops, sandals, whatever that's easy to slip on, slip off, we brought back the business loafer.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, no, that's. I mean,
All
look for the guy with
right.
the big, thick-soled tie-up shoes. Pull them out of the line.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Save everyone time. Just be like, you over here.
Right.
Like, you're the weirdo traveling in real shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Get in a line.
Exactly. All right, guys, let's take a break and then we'll come back and cover some more stories.
All right.
Love diving into metaphysical topics, psychic insights, and lively discussions? Now you can help keep the conversation going. By becoming a Patreon supporter of The Psychic Coffee Shop, you'll gain access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and special perks just for our patrons. Join our community and ensure that your favorite psychic show continues to thrive. Your support helps us bring more enlightening episodes, special guests, and deep dives into the world of the unseen. Become a patron today and enjoy a cup of wisdom with us every week. Click the link to join the baristas and unlock exclusive content. Thank you for your support.
Unlock your full potential with Aeson Knight's life coaching. Are you ready to take control of your life and manifest the future you deserve? Aeson Knight, a seasoned life coach and master psychic, is here to guide you on a transformative journey. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, career transitions, or seeking spiritual growth, Aeson's life coaching services offer tailored guidance to help you achieve your goals. With Aeson by your side, you'll discover the tools to overcome obstacles, embrace your true self, and create a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. His unique blend of spiritual insight and practical coaching empowers you to turn your dreams into reality. Ready to make a change? Book your session today and start your journey to a more empowered, balanced, and joyful life with Aeson Knight. Click the link to schedule your first session and step into your power.
Are you ready for an electrifying podcast experience that keeps you coming back for more? Join Aeson Knight every week as he takes you on a journey through captivating shows, each exploring unique and fascinating topics. And here's the best part. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode where you can get your burning questions answered live on air, absolutely free. Whether it's relationship advice, career guidance, or mystical insights, Aeson's podcasts have got you covered. When you subscribe, you become part of a vibrant community, engaging directly with Aeson as he shares his wisdom and leaves you feeling empowered and enlightened. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. What you'll get by subscribing: Monday 5 p.m. Metaphysics. Today, soulful conversations with Aeson Knight and Firefly, exploring the essence of metaphysics in today's world. Tuesday 8 p.m. The Psychic Coffee Shop. Dive into current events with a psychic twist, featuring special guests and thought-provoking discussions. Friday 9 p.m. The Mountain Bears Podcast. Lively discussions from a gayish, techie-ish, bearish perspective with Aeson and Joe. Sunday 5 p.m. Psychic That Plans. Get a weekly tarot energy overview and time management tips from Aeson Knight. Click here to subscribe now and never miss an episode. By subscribing, you're not just tuning in, you're joining a community of curious minds and ensuring you're always in the loop with Aeson's insightful and interactive shows. Don't wait. Hit that subscribe button and get ready for an amazing podcast journey.
Ready for an enchanting journey of self-discovery? Join Lord Aeson Knight in our Wicca courses. Unveil the secrets of Wicca. Explore deity relationships, rituals, and more. As a third-degree high priest, Aeson Knight guides you toward empowerment and enlightenment. Enroll today and take your first step into the magical circle. Click the link to begin your journey.
Psychic Saturday. Get 50% off with Aeson Knight every third Saturday of the month. Don't miss out. Book now.
All right. So we are back. Let's dig into the next one.
All right, so CNN brings us Tesla is in deeper trouble than you think. So Tesla's troubles go far beyond CEO Elon Musk's recent dust-up with the president, who accused the former first buddy of going completely off the rails in a social media slap fight over the weekend. But while the battles between Musk and the president are getting all the attention, the outlook for Tesla's revenue and bottom line have gotten notably worse, and the company could even be back to losing money for reasons unrelated to Musk's personal politics. So Musk is the president's largest financial supporter during the 2024 campaign and was a mainstay at Mar-a-Lago at the White House at the start of his second term, with his role in slashing the federal workforce at the Department of Doge. But Musk has since announced he was starting a new political party due to his displeasure with the tax and spending bills signed by the president on Friday, and the barbs on their respective websites have only increased since then. Shares of Tesla closed Monday down 6.8% as investors were concerned about the implication of Musk's latest political moves, despite his promises to refocus on the company. It rebounded only 1.3% in Tuesday trading. Very simply, Musk diving deeper into politics and now trying to take on the Beltway establishment is exactly the opposite direction that Tesla investors and shareholders want him to take during this critical period for the Tesla story, wrote Dan Ives, an analyst at Wedbush Securities, who's known for being optimistic about the company. Ives put out a follow-up note Tuesday saying that the Tesla board should set ground rules to limit Musk's political activities because the company is at a tipping point for its future. Quote, Tesla is heading into one of the most important stages of its growth cycle, with the autonomous and robotics future now on the doorstep, and cannot have Musk spending more and more time creating a political party which will require countless time, energy, and political capital, he wrote. Still, Ives maintained his buy recommendation and $500 price target for the stock in his note. But analysts at William Blair cut their recommendation on the stock to market perform or neutral, and also cut their earnings forecast for the company. Because even without the political stink, Tesla's financial outlook is suddenly looking notably worse. Tesla did not respond to requests for comment, but when Ives posted his belief that the Tesla board should tie Musk's future pay package to the amount of time he spends at Tesla and have oversight of his political endeavors, Musk responded with his own post on X saying, "Shut up, Dan." Oh, well, there's one way to go about it. So Blair's note pointed out that Trump's bill not only removed the $7,500 tax credit for electronic vehicle buyers, but also eliminated the financial penalties for automakers that fail to meet federal emissions targets. Emissions fines have historically forced automakers who still build primarily gasoline-powered cars and trucks to buy regulatory credits from EV companies. Removing those fines eliminates market demand for Tesla's credits, said the note from William Blair analysts Jed Dorsheimer and Mark Shooter. The sales of those federal and state credits added $10.6 billion to Tesla's bottom line since 2019 and often enabled the company to post a profit. Without the revenue from those regulatory credits, the company would not have reported a positive annual net income until 2021, and it would have been back in the red again in the first quarter of this year when its net income plunged 71% compared to a year earlier on sharply lower sales around the globe. Musk has largely downplayed all the recent bad news, saying the company's future rests on robots, artificial intelligence, and self-driving taxis. But the company's taxi service is very limited to date, launching only in Austin, Texas for a select group of customers, mostly Tesla fans, and with a Tesla employee riding in the front passenger seat to monitor the car's performance. That puts Tesla behind the robo-taxi service already offered in Austin and 3 other cities, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and Phoenix, by Waymo, the self-driving car unit of Google parent Alphabet. And Tesla's rollout has had its share of problems, including a video showing a robo-taxi traveling on the wrong side of the road for about half a block, and another video of a robo-taxi slowly turning its wheels into a parked car. While Musk has promised his robo-taxi service will be expanding soon across many other cities, he has not given any further details. He also hasn't said when the Austin service will be expanded to the general public, nor when the company's human monitor sitting in the front passenger seat will no longer be needed. Meanwhile, Waymo has definitive plans to expand its service to Miami and Washington, D.C. next year in partnership with Uber. Quote, we expect that investors are growing tired of the distraction at a point when the business needs Musk's attention the most and only see downside from his dip back into politics, said the William Blair note. We would prefer this effort be channeled towards the robo-taxi rollout at this point.
Well, see, here's the problem. Like, this is talking about the market shares, and that's important. But he's in bigger trouble.
Okay.
China has this rare earth. It's a magnetic earth that they use to make the batteries and the electric transformers for Tesla and all the EV vehicles.
Well, it's a major component in electronics in general.
In general.
Rare earth metals are super important to manufacturing any electronics. And they're especially important in an autonomous driving vehicle with tons of electronic components.
Right. Well, China has decided to restrict the export of this mineral.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Like, you have to apply for a certification, have a transparent production plan, track every grain of it, all of this.
Yeah, but it helps having a bestie that can blow up a country.
Well, it did. But now he doesn't have that bestie.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
XOXO bombed Iran.
Yeah. But, just saying, I know. But on the other page of this, we have all this news coming about how bad Tesla is and how bad the market share is and all that. While they can't get supplies to make the cars and the ugly fucking trucks.
I know, it was so funny watching you see your first one. What?
Yeah, I was like, what the
is
hell
that?
is that?
The Cybertruck. No. Like, it was disbelief and rejection of the idea that it's not a Cybertruck. That cannot be what a Cybertruck looks like. I'm like, that is a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
That is a Tesla Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm. It was ugly. They are ugly. Elon, get a clue. Go find you a Ford designer to redo your truck, baby.
Yeah. I mean, that truck has so many issues. Not
Catching on fire being one of them.
Yeah, not the design. The design is the least of them. Like, there's so many things wrong.
Right.
And this is part of what these investment firms were talking about, while the rest of the company is moving into robotics and and robo-taxis and all that. Is that even the thing that you were already doing? One, your sales are going through the floor, and a lot of that has to do with it's not delivering.
Mm-hmm.
People are very upset with what they're getting.
Right.
And the way the company has handled itself, because again, you just spent $140,000 on a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a small amount of money. People have expectations of what owning a vehicle should look like. I understand you're coming into a space looking to revolutionize it and do something different, kind of taking a play from the Apple playbook. But you kind of have to deliver the core thing.
Yeah.
Like, it really upsets people when they wash their car and their car stops working.
Yes.
Like, that's kind of an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's there are many problems with Tesla. Now, Tesla does also get dented and dinged, pun intended, for their fit and finish.
Right.
And I would argue on their defensive. It's a custom built car.
Yeah.
It is like a Maserati. It is like a sports car. These are limited production vehicles. They're not. There's going to be imperfection. Like, you have to accept some level of like fit and finish imperfection.
Right.
But as for the rest of it, the core functionality.
Mm-hmm.
No, these customers have a valid complaint.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to continue to see sales until you engage with the problem.
Right.
That the core functionality of a vehicle is not being met.
Right.
It's a pretty toy. A very expensive, pretty toy. Mm-hmm. When it's pretty.
Well, when our nephew can build something better in Roblox or whatever that poorly pixelated game is.
Minecraft.
There you go, Minecraft. You know, hire him to become your new designer. At least he'll have a little bit of style in him.
I would hope it would look better than the current Cybertruck.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, not that that's a high bar to meet.
Yeah.
It really isn't. But yeah.
All right. So let's move over to the shortest day of the year.
Oh, I think I lost that one. 1 second. Let me just grab that back. Don't think I lost that. There we go. So, yeah. Oh, I think the article drifted on me. That's what. So the shortest day in history set for tomorrow as Earth's rotation unexpectedly speeds up. So scientists have warned that Wednesday could be the shortest day of your life as Earth's accelerating rotation is expected to move quicker than ever before. They found that 3 days this summer, July 9th, 22nd, and August 5th, are expected to be between 1.3 and 1.51 milliseconds shorter than the standard day. That is because Earth's rotation has sped up in recent years, with scientists observing the phenomenon on atomic clocks in 2020 and 2022. These clocks are incredibly accurate machines that keep time by measuring the vibration of atoms. Although the exact reason is still a mystery, scientists believe there could be several factors that are making Earth spin faster, including changes in the atmosphere, the melting of glaciers, motion in the Earth's core, and a weakening magnetic field. Earth normally takes 24 hours, or exactly 86,400 seconds, to complete one full rotation, which is called a solar day. The fastest day recorded so far was 1 year ago on July 5th, 2024, when Earth spun 1.66 milliseconds faster than the standard 24 hours. While tomorrow's shortened day may seem insignificant, researchers have found that the time change can affect everything from satellite systems and GPS accuracy to how we measure time itself.
Yeah, and I know that it may sound like 1.6 microseconds is not a big deal, but it's like adding pennies up, honey. If we keep moving forward, we will have, like, we've probably already thrown off our natural calendar.
Meanwhile, I have to question, like, what is the potential astrological impact?
Oh, the astrological impact is even greater.
Okay.
I mean, we could be, Beltane could be in the middle of May.
So, from the accumulative effect?
Correct.
Okay.
Or later in the year. I mean, the accumulative effect just keeps building. I mean, we skipped a full minute. We skipped 2 full minutes. We skipped 3-4 minutes before that. And, we have to figure out which month we're going to be taking out a day yet. Because it no longer brings us back to the exact astral point, the astrometer point of the sky that is New Year's.
So Earth's rotation has never been perfect as it shifts by tiny amounts throughout time, getting a few milliseconds faster or slower. However, scientists didn't start keeping exact records of these changes until the 1970s. For the latest estimates of Earth's spin, Graham Jones, an astrophysicist at the University of London, used information from the U.S. Naval Observatory and International Earth Rotation Services. Atomic clocks track the numbers measuring what's called length of day, or LOD. That's the time it takes Earth to rotate once, down to the millisecond. Even tiny changes in day length matter. GPS, phone networks, and financial systems rely on split-second accuracy. A shift of just a few milliseconds can cause technical glitches. Before this recent acceleration of Earth's spin, the planet was actually slowing down due to the moon's gravitational pull, which has been stretching our days into the 24-hour cycle we now live by in modern times. So geoscientist Stephen Myers, a professor at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, found that as the moon moves further away, its changing gravitational impact on Earth slowing days would make days incrementally longer. Sorry, there's a little bit of a butchering of that sentence. So Myers predicted that days on our planet could eventually become 25 hours long, but noted that it would take about 200 million years.
So I'm 200 million years early. Okay.
Well, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
25-hour day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. You know, this is going to happen. This is probably going to happen. It's also going to be questioned because we have an asteroid headed at the moon, and there's a debate on whether we should try to destroy the asteroid before it hits the moon, on how that's going to affect the gravitational flow, which then affects the Earth in multiple ways. Like if that asteroid was to hit the moon and move the moon less than 2 feet, it could cause the tide waters to rise earlier or later.
Yeah, it is all kind of a very delicate balance.
Yes.
That as you shift things around,
Mm-hmm.
you can see some very impressive events.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention just what would happen the day of.
Mm-hmm.
Just in the one-day occurrence of the event.
Right.
Because that's going to be no small set of things.
It is not. All right, so a new segment we're going to be trying is called the Hoof Report. My assistant is going to be choosing articles at random that he thinks are hoof ready, and we're going to be talking about them. So first, our first hoof report comes from the UK courts.
Okay. Okay, so I had 2 articles shift on me. There we go. Sorry. Got a little lost there. So this is a fun one. So NPR brings us UK court finds men who stole $6 million gold toilet guilty. So this is from back in March. It turns out that a porcelain throne can also be made of gold. At least that was the vision behind Italian artist Maurizio Catalan's artwork titled America, created in 2016. The installation featured a fully functional toilet cast in 18-karat gold. It was initially displayed at the Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum in New York City and later at Blenheim Palace in the United Kingdom, where it was stolen in 2019. This week, 2 of the people involved in the theft were convicted in a UK court. So the original heist took place on September 14th, 2019, when a group of thieves used sledgehammers and crowbars to remove the toilet from the floor of Oxfordshire's historic Blenheim Palace. It reportedly took them under 5 minutes to escape with the luxurious latrine. On Tuesday, Michael Jones, 39, was found guilty of burglary in a British court for his role in the theft, while Fred Doe, 36, was found guilty of conspiracy to transfer criminal property. They joined 40-year-old James Sheen, who is credited with coordinating the plan and has already pleaded guilty to charges of burglary, conspiracy, and transferring criminal property. The toilet, which was insured for a value of $6 million, has yet to be recovered. Prosecutors say that it was dismantled and sold in parts. Jones was even questioned about having used the toilet the day before the heist. He described the experience as splendid. When this piece was installed at the Guggenheim, visitors were encouraged to interact with it fully. As NPR's Merrick Kennedy wrote back in 2016, its creator, Catalan, has been described as a provocateur, prankster, and tragic poet of our times. One of his most famous works, La Nona Ora, the Ninth Hour, depicts Pope John Paul II lying on the floor after being struck by a meteor. When it was on display, the golden toilet was often compared to French artist Marcel Duchamp's porcelain urinal called Fountain. a defining piece of the 20th century art, which highlighted the absurdity of the art world. Agence France Peace reports that Joe will be sentenced in May. Jones and Sheen are still awaiting their sentencing dates. Oh, too fun, too fun.
Too funny. I mean, but 18 karat gold toilet, that's a heavy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also figure, in a sense, also a very delicate thing. Like, I'm wondering how much of it, like, was this, like, seriously solid gold? Like, you carved a toilet out of gold.
Well,
Not
molded it, but yes.
Enameled a toilet in gold.
Right.
Like, that part would make more sense to me. But, yeah, that's still a lot of gold.
Still. It is. All right. So let's find out if you're the asshole this week.
Oh, excuse me. Am I the asshole for telling my husband to choose between me and his smart home obsession? I, 33 female, have been married to Alex for 5 years. He was always into tech, which was fine. The last couple years have gotten out of control with his obsession with making our house smart. It started innocently with some smart bulbs and a video doorbell, but now everything in our house needs an app or voice command to work. Every door has a smart lock, every window has smart blinds, every outlet has a smart switch. There are smart sensors on all faucets, and I even got a smart toilet. I can't figure out how to flush without my phone. I'm way past asking. Yesterday was my breaking point. I left work early with a terrible migraine and my phone almost dead at 2% battery. All I wanted was to get inside, take my meds, and rest in a dark room. But our Wi-Fi was down, so the smart lock wouldn't work. My phone died before I could try the backup cellular system he installed. I had to sit on our front porch in the sun with my migraine for 2 hours waiting for Alex to return. He had disabled the regular key lock because it was a security vulnerability. I borrowed our neighbor's phone to call him, but he was in meetings with his phone on Do Not Disturb. When he arrived, instead of apologizing, he got excited about adding more backup systems to prevent this from happening again. He completely missed that I don't want more tech solutions. I just want to enter my house without needing an app. This morning made things worse. I couldn't make coffee because he replaced our normal coffee maker with a fancy smart one that learns our preferences but needs Wi-Fi to work, which was still down. Even the microwave was unusable because it's connected to his system. I snapped. I told him he needs to choose between me or his smart home obsession. I'm done living in a house where I need tech support just to turn on lights or use the bathroom. He got defensive, saying I'm being dramatic and should appreciate how he's improving our home. He claims I'm holding back progress, and this is how all homes will be soon. Here's the thing. I'm a software developer myself, so I understand home automation. But this isn't about convenience anymore. It feels obsessive and controlling. He's spent thousands on this system and keeps adding more complicated features. Am I the asshole for giving this ultimatum?
Yes.
Yes, the asshole?
Yes, the asshole.
For the ultimatum?
Yes.
Okay.
Totally the asshole. Your husband is on the verge of finding and organizing everything. It is not his fault that your Wi-Fi went down. It is not his fault you haven't learned to integrate the systems.
Like, no, I'm going with not the asshole. I sincerely think that one of the things you can miss in any system is that as great as it all is when it all works and it all works together and it does the thing, is that you do have to very strongly pre-plan. One, for the eventuality of, Wi-Fi failure, general system failure, individual device or app or whatever failure, discontinuation, etc. And that's one whole thing. And then there's the realities of, is this livable? Is this meaningfully improving our lives? Or is this a lot of crap?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be frustrated if I come home in OP's, status, and I'm stuck on my front porch because our Wi-Fi went down, and there's no redundant system.
That's the problem.
I just want, my house is not serving me right now. The only thing I wanted was to go inside, take some meds, go to bed.
Right.
I can't accomplish that if we don't have an easy way to work around any failure. I mean, sure, you can argue if you charge your phone. That would have helped. But at the same time, you still have to plan in a worst case scenario.
Well, understandable, and that's why we still have sconces throughout the house for the candles to sit on when, we go to the 1800s.
Yeah.
And this is your fault. You can take full blame for this.
Okay.
I want Alexa lights everywhere. I would love for my to say, make me a cup of coffee from the bed, coffee maker to prep and make itself. Anything and all of it, bring it on.
Oh, I like Brenda's comment, though. Aeson says that now. If he couldn't have coffee every time Wi-Fi or the net went down, he'd be ranting. But you know what'll improve really quickly? The priority of bills. Like internet, A1. He will have that paid up for the next 18 months. Ain't no internet outage gonna cost me coffee.
Nope.
No, they're prepaid. No, internet paid.
Yeah.
Internet totally paid.
And I would actually probably approve the home-based internet, cellular home-based internet.
Yep, whole redundant system just to make sure coffee pot works.
Yes.
That is a theory I need to keep in mind.
Yes.
Get him that Wi-Fi coffee pot with no button.
The Wi-Fi coffee pot, please. I would love it. Because the torture I go through every morning making coffee is redundantly. Or asking for coffee to be made. Drives me crazy. Takes forever. We have a Keurig, for God's sakes. But anyhow, yes, regular coffee creation. Coffee to my liking, because I like super strong coffee. He likes a mild coffee. That would be improvement.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so we got that poll up.
Poll is up. Feel free to vote.
All right, so over to Ask Gabe Rose over 30. This is Flair of 45 to 49. How do you cope when friends walk away instead of having hard conversations? So there I was at a July 4th summer barbecue, sitting poolside across from an old friend who ended our 2-year friendship after I got caught in the middle of a rejection and fumbled a message I had no business giving in the first place. He was into my ex and wanted the three of us to play, but my ex wasn't feeling it. He didn't react well to the news or my delivery and decided to end the friendship. 2 years of building a bond, hearing each other's struggles and triumphs, and sharing meals together at our favorite places while we talked Star Trek and all things geek. We didn't always see eye to eye, but from my perspective, it was a mutually beneficial relationship. It's been 4 years since he ended the friendship, and he didn't speak a word to me at the party. It is so odd how people can hold on to things like that. It doesn't seem healthy, and although I still had an excellent time, it made me think back to another friend who ghosted me recently. We were friends for a year, and our last interaction was a great video call and then nothing. We lived on separate sides of the state, but we had both really invested in the relationship. We would chat every day, talk while on walks, have weekly video calls, have awesome deep philosophical conversations, and we'd go on joint weekenders. These were friendships where we both invested a great deal of time and energy, and it was easier for them to walk away than to stay and have tough conversations. In my experience, that level of friendship doesn't come around every day, and it takes time to build up the trust to be open and vulnerable with someone. I'm so grateful today that I had these friendships, even if in the end they didn't see that value. I had to ask myself, perhaps I'm not a good friend, or perhaps I'm not interesting. I admit I'm not perfect, far from it, actually, but I own my mistakes, work hard to grow as a person, and have great interpersonal skills. Am I interesting? Yeah, I can talk about pretty much anything. And more importantly, I'm interested in knowing my friends. Thanks for reading, and I would love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Have you ever ended a meaningful friendship without trying to repair it? And if so, what led you to that decision? Have you found yourself on the receiving end wondering what went wrong? Maybe you have been ghosted by a good friend and had to make sense of it on your own, or perhaps you have ghosted someone and are still reflecting on that choice a year plus later. How did these experiences shape your understanding of friendship and connection? Sorry for all the questions. I'm genuinely curious what others have experienced.
For me, when a friendship's done, it's done. Like, we don't need to mourn the grave, we move on. I know a lot of people are, oh, we need to have a closing conversation. The closing conversation is, fuck you, bye.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get how hard that is.
I kind of am over here with OP. At least in the sense that, because I don't even think he's getting that per se.
Right.
I think it's just the conversation never occurred to even get there.
Right.
And it's just like an event occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the ghost. Like, they're gone.
Right.
Like, could have been hit by a bus, gone.
Right.
Is it over the issue? Was it something about them? Or like, what was the thing?
Right.
Like,
well, the first friend here, it's obvious that the friend was not a friend. They were looking for a hookup. Husband wasn't interested.
Well, the ex now wasn't it?
Yeah. Right.
I think that's. I mean, on that one, I can give you dubious friendship to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So the friendship wasn't really a friendship; it was a hookup attempt gone wrong.
Right.
So fair enough. On the second one, that seems like that was kind of 1-to-1, and there was nothing. It's just it was there and then wasn't.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I still think you kind of struggle with this you owe people concept.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's really sucks if you even if you've 100% made up your mind, the friendship's over. Like, that was it, I'm done.
Right.
I kind of feel like you should at least lay out, like, here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm done. It's over.
Right.
Like, I can't do this. And I don't want to hear you defend yourself. I don't want to get manipulated into continuing the friendship. Like, I'm out.
You're right.
But, I wanted to just go ahead and put it out there that, like, it is, like, 100% done, and this is why.
Right.
And maybe that's something you grow from. Maybe that's just something you needed to know so you don't sit here with doubt later.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's the appropriate thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled saying you owe it to someone. I don't think it goes that far.
Right.
And sometimes you do have to make the choice that, like, nope.
Right.
But when you can, if you can, please do that. Because
Mm-hmm.
it is really weird to be on the opposite side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, what did I do? What did I say? What was it this? And then not know if you're gonna, like, ever find out for sure.
Right.
And you may be obsessing about a thing because it becomes an obsession. Like,
Right.
it sticks.
Right.
And it's like, what is the deal? Like, I've got to find a story to tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to process what happened. And for some people, they have very healthy coping, and they can be like, well, that's a choice someone made,
Mm-hmm.
and I hope it serves them well. It sucks for me. I really miss that person, but you didn't give me other options, so all I can do is move forward.
Right.
And I don't get to know why. I don't get to know if there's something about me that I can change or fix, or at least need to be aware of.
Right.
Because that's how you chose to leave this. So maybe I go on to repeat that. Maybe it was never me to begin with.
Right.
So somewhere in there,
Mm-hmm.
you hope that someone down the road, if it is something you're doing, if it is something about you, that you may not realize about yourself, that hopefully someone tells you.
Right.
Because otherwise, that really sucks to keep losing friends,
Mm-hmm.
not know what the thing is. And in the grand scheme of things, how good of a friend are you if you're not already engaging them?
Right.
Because I'm sorry, I think that is part of friendship,
Mm-hmm.
is having that alone conversation of,
Right.
like, do you realize, or maybe it's just me, but do you realize the way you come across?
Right.
Do you realize the thing you just said?
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize whatever?
Mm-hmm.
That this is taxing on our friendship. It's trauma dumping. It is
Mm-hmm.
manipulative. It is whatever.
Right.
And at least giving someone the opportunity to know that about themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and potentially, like, fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Start recognizing when it occurs and be like, oh, I can just not do that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, giving someone, like, I think that's a mutual part of friendship.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you, like, sit on a high horse and tell them you're a horrible person because you do this. But at least having, like, a one conversation where it's like, do you realize?
Yeah.
That, like, you do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if it's intentional, like, I will cope around that. If it's
Right.
unintentional, you might want to look into that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if that's the reason you're going to end your friendship with someone. I think it's worth at least a one mention.
Right.
That, like, hey, Did you know?
Right.
Like, that doesn't come across the way you think it does.
Right.
Like, that's not concern, that's
Mhm.
judgment.
Right.
You know, that's not, you know, keeping a trust, that's using me for gossip.
Mhm.
That's not, you know, benefiting from our friendship, that's exploiting people.
Right.
Like, it's one
Thank
thing
you.
to have someone that has, like, say, a lake house. And you go,
Mhm.
yeah, you know, I have a friend who has a lake house, and would you mind if I used it?
Right.
And you do that like once, maybe twice.
Mhm.
Versus you, without even bothering to ask, are
Right.
like, oh, I'm going to your lake house
Mhm.
for the 4th.
Mhm.
Excuse me?
Do what? I don't
No,
think so.
no. You made a whole plan involving my property.
Mhm.
You knew.
Yeah.
Like, it will sit there and gather dust
Mhm.
before I'm going to respond to that positively, because
Right.
there's a difference, you know, between asking and benefiting from things that I own. For
Mhm.
example, I mean, I'm
Right.
just trying to work through is that, like, I think there are some things that people just, especially in friendships, don't
Right.
really think it through. It's like, well, they're my best friend. Of course they're going to let me use the lake house. Yeah, they'll let you use the lake house. Do the basic thing.
Right.
Ow. That's it. That's all you had to do was ask.
Mhm.
Don't start into, I made this plan because I assume
Right.
that, you know, all I've got to do is tell you what day, and you'll be like, sure, here's the key.
Yeah. Or you already have a key.
So yeah, Brenda says, I'm not a big believer in closure and rehashing conversations. I'm there with you to I'm there with you. If you're talking about rehashing, um I'm there with you. Like, if you've already had this conversation, like, you know, Joan Crawford did, for
Mhm.
reasons that are well known to you,
Mhm.
you know, no, you don't have to rehash that if it's clear and obvious what the problem was.
Exactly.
No, you don't have to sit there and go back through that. No, not at all. That's not a unique closure moment.
Right.
But I think you also have to be aware of whether that was clear and obvious.
Right.
Like, if the last time I speak to someone we have a screaming argument, I'm pretty sure why they're not talking to me.
Right. Or you
Or
should be.
conversely, I assume they're real clear on why I'm not talking to them.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to rehash an argument. You're to find whatever closure you need. You should have gotten it on, you know,
Right.
that conversation.
Right.
But yeah, if I, for instance, you know, hold my tongue, or I
Mhm.
don't say anything, or I'm like, got the ick over here. I
Yeah.
like, as a good friend, I do feel like I should at least tell you why I'm cutting contact.
Right.
And going, look, this friendship just died on me. Like,
Right.
I can't get past that thing.
Right.
Like,
For me, it's like not done. Walked on. You
yep,
know, because they're not going to change their behavior. They just don't. They never do. You know, a leopard doesn't change its spots; its behavior stays the same. But all
no,
right, let's see if you're the asshole. Ooh, this is interesting. It is a triple threat.
ah,
Oh, it is evenly split down the river. Yes, you are the asshole. No, you're not the asshole. Get the vinegar because you're also the dill pickle. Interesting.
Yes,
I think
no,
this is
dill
the
pickle.
first. Yep. This is the first time it has been that mixed. Good job.
Interesting. All right, that was a good one.
Yes. All right, guys. There is a special show going to be on Thursday. I'm actually going to be the guest over on Thriving in Chaos. Patrons, I will send you a link as soon as I have a live link, and that will be fun. And then we will be back Friday at 9 p.m. With that, go ahead and take that away, Boo.
All right, so of course we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, and Bella. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. All right, guys. We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Buckle up, y'all. It's time to drop.